A useless person who can't even walk has no place in our house. Haha, how can you do such a thing? The mother-in-law pushed me in my wheelchair down a staircase with more than 10 steps. Thanks to my quick reflexes, I avoided major injuries. She did not help me and just laughed at my plight. You're just unemployed. Why don't you just get a divorce quickly? All right, I understand. The mother-in-law doesn't know that I earn an annual salary of $200,000. What kind of future awaits me as I leave this house? And then the mother-in-law brings up her son. Also, I'll be taking the grandchild with me. Haha, I won't let you do that. Ha, as if you could take care of a child properly. I resolved to protect my son at all costs. I couldn't hand him over to such a devil-like person, and so I decided on revenge. I'd rather leave this house even without being told to. A month after leaving the house, I received numerous calls from the mother-in-law. She might have finally realized the gravity of the situation, but it was already too late. My name is Emily, and I just turned 45 last month. I live with my husband and our 5-year-old son. I met my husband John at a party of a mutual acquaintance when I was 35. Wow, Emily, you work as a fashion designer. That's pretty cool. Not at all. I still have a long way to go. Haha, that's not true. I was not very good at socializing, so I probably stood out in that setting. He kindly spoke to me, probably out of concern. My impression of him at that time was of a caring and sincere person. Recently, my parents have been nagging me to be independent. Haha, you live with your parents, right? Yeah, but they're saying I'm old enough and should live alone. Then why don't you come to my place? At that time, we weren't officially dating yet. Even now, I wonder why I said that. It just came out naturally like breathing. Maybe I was drawn to his somewhat unreliable and childlike aspects. And so we started dating. At the same time as we began living together, I heard this: if we have a child, my dad will give us money. What? What do you mean? I don't really understand either, like a celebration gift maybe. But well, to be honest, I didn't have much desire to marry or have children, and I thought it might be difficult because of my age. However, my husband was optimistic and quite excited about the idea of getting money. By this time, we had been dating for 4 years, and I was about to turn 40. You're kidding. I was holding my head in the bathroom. I was also optimistic. It seems I'm pregnant. Really? That's great. Then we've got to get married. Haha, yeah, we should. Reluctantly, I discovered my pregnancy on my 40th birthday, and soon after, we got married. At this time, my work was stable, and I thought about devoting my time to the child that was about to be born. However, this would lead to a drastic change in my husband's attitude. During the pregnancy, he seemed no different from before. But you've done well, huh? Is something wrong? As soon as my husband saw our newborn son, he muttered something unbelievable. Is he really my child? What? What are you talking about? Everyone in the room froze for a moment at his unexpected words. He doesn't look like me at all, does he? You can't tell such things right after birth, can you? Well, whatever, I'm going back to work for now. Saying that, my husband left the hospital room without looking back. I couldn't accept his words at all. And then my husband hardly got involved in child rearing, and time just passed by. Before I knew it, our son Aaron was celebrating his 3rd birthday. Where's Daddy? He's working late today, so it's just you and me for this celebration, okay. Last year, he did celebrate his birthday, but it felt like he was just fulfilling an obligation. And this year, he's saying he has to work overtime. I even doubted whether it was really overtime. Since then, my son and I have been spending a modest but happy time together. And I'm home, I hear the sound of the entrance door opening. You're welcome back. Was there something special today? Today is Aaron's 3rd birthday. I answer with a stronger tone. I forgot, saying that my husband tries to go to his room, but I stop him. Shouldn't you at least say happy birthday? Why? My husband's expression suddenly became cloudy. It's your son's birthday, so it's only natural. I'm tired from working overtime. I'm going to sleep now. Wait a minute. In the end, my husband went to his room without saying a word to our son. I was angry, of course, but more than that, I was worried about our son. When I hesitantly looked at my son, he seemed carefree despite being only 3 years old. It's okay, Mom, my son smiled, though I could see something like tears in his eyes. From then on, I stopped expecting anything from my husband. After putting my son to bed, I was slumped on the sofa alone when my husband came in with a strangely happy face. I forgot to tell you, but I got $6,000 from my dad as a congratulatory gift for the birth the other day. What? When? About 2 days ago, I think. So how about we go on a trip with that money? That's quite sudden. It's fine, once in a while, right? I didn't understand what he was thinking, but I accepted his proposal, thinking it might make my son happy. And then on the day of the trip we were supposed to go on, a resort hotel, we had only been out of the house for about 10 minutes. Sorry, but I have to cancel today's trip. I don't understand. Aaron was looking forward to it today, you know. Stop nagging, can't be helped, right? My boss invited me to golf. You should have declined that. Someone who can't even properly do housework or childcare shouldn't be talking so big. My husband, somehow infuriated, was driving while looking at his smartphone. Please don't drive while looking at your phone. And I'm replying right now, just be quiet for a bit. And then, in the next moment, it happened. Our car drifted into the oncoming lane. At the moment, I thought we were going to crash. I instinctively turned my body towards the back seat to protect Aaron. Then with the impact, I lost consciousness. Emily, are you okay? I woke up to the sound of my name being called. Standing there was my mother-in-law. Where am I? What are you saying? You're in the hospital, of course. I've remembered something else important. Aaron, how's my son? Then the mother-in-law answered with a sly smile. He's fine, just some scratches, it seems. That's a relief, I sighed. And relief, however, the mother-in-law suddenly became confrontational. Relief? John has broken bones, you know, and it's your fault, isn't it? What? What do you mean? According to John, you suddenly interfered, causing the accident. I didn't do anything like that. I felt anger at my husband's false testimony and tried to get up. However, I couldn't muster any strength. While I could move my arms, my lower body was completely immobile. Is something wrong? The mother-in-law, knowing my condition, was smirking. Do you know something, mother-in-law? Who knows? I don't. Well, see you. I was suddenly overwhelmed with a cold sweat. I asked the doctor who came in after my mother-in-law left. The answer I received was beyond my worst fears. Will I be like this forever? Unfortunately, the chances of recovery are almost zero, so I'll be in a wheelchair for life. Isn't there a way to walk again? There is rehabilitation, but it doesn't guarantee you'll be able to walk again. Everything went dark before my eyes, and I couldn't think of anything. I spent over a month in the hospital before being discharged. During that time, my son was left at my mother-in-law's house. My husband never came to visit me. Thank you for coming today. It really helped. No problem, I'd come right away if you're in trouble, Emily. You're about the only one who would say that, haha. But your husband is not coming at all. Well, I kind of expected that. I returned home with the help of my junior colleague, Julia. Now that I needed care, I was fortunate to have my parents' barrier-free house. I thought I could manage living there starting tomorrow. Mom will live here too. Why? Why do you care? I can't do it alone. Mom offered. Be grateful. Even so, it's so sudden. Don't complain. Now you're truly useless. You have no right to complain, haha. That's when the real help began. What? This house? It's big but so old. Everywhere, please take care of me from now on. Oh, were you there? I didn't notice, haha. Well, I'll be taking care of you from now on, so you should be grateful. My mother-in-law, who claimed she would take care of me, hardly did anything to help. As I continued living like this, I managed to take care of myself to some extent. Seeing this, my mother-in-law became even more oppressive. If you can do so much, maybe I'm not needed. Please do everything on your own from now on. But I can't do everything. Please help me a little. Why should I do that? Haha. You can't work, and you're not useful. I am working, though. That's just your delusion, right? Haha. Then I started taking on design work again, which I had paused due to my leave of absence. I couldn't stay silent after what she said. Sometimes I was accused of just playing around, but I ignored it all and focused on my work. Thankfully, my work began to be recognized. Your recent design has been really well received, and the one you designed for wheelchair users was considered innovative. Everyone at the office is talking about it. Really, I was just thinking about what I could do in my current situation, and it came to me. Just a fluke, haha. Even if it was a fluke, it's amazing. And now there's a magazine that wants to interview you, Emily. My junior colleague, Julia, seemed even more excited than me. It felt good to have my work appreciated. I continued to release new designs as if inspired by a divine force. With each high rating, my income kept increasing. However, my husband came sniffing around when he got wind of this. I hear your work's been going well recently. You're making quite a bit, aren't you? Not particularly. Don't lie, I know. From then on, my husband began to ask me for money. This went on for about half a year. I quit my job, haha. What? Why would you do that? Because it's stupid to work hard when I see you earning easily. Well, that's the situation, so take care of me, okay? Wait a minute. Oh, and don't tell Mom about this. Why? Can't you understand? If you do, it'll ruin my standing. I didn't press any further. I was too dismayed to find any more words to say. It was absurd to do such things just for his cheap pride. It was during this time of exasperation. The weather is nice today. How about going for a walk? My mother-in-law suddenly suggested this. A walk. But I have things I need to do today. It's not anything important. Come on, let's go. She forcibly pushed my wheelchair and took me out for a walk. I had never gone for a walk with my mother-in-law before, so I had a bad feeling about it. Where are we going? A nice place. That's enough, let's go back. That's not possible. She seemed unusually desperate. It seemed like she was heading to a park on a hill nearby. In the neighborhood, my mother-in-law was also breathing heavily, probably due to her age. Here we are. Nice view, isn't it? It is, but I couldn't believe she brought me here just to see this view. Just as I was thinking this, I saw stairs in front of me. Then I felt a strong impact from behind, as if the wheelchair was about to fall. Ah, the wheelchair ran towards the stairs and tumbled down forcefully. The scene of the previous traffic accident flashed in my mind. I managed to protect myself instinctively. However, my legs wouldn't move. I faced up the stairs, a useless person who can't even walk. Has no place in our house, haha. How can you do such a thing? My mother-in-law didn't help me lying on the ground, but just laughed at me. She was like a villain from a story. You're just unemployed. Why don't you just get a divorce quickly? With those words, I understood everything, but there was no need to go this far. All right, I understand. She didn't know that the unemployed person she mocked was actually earning $200,000. She had no idea what future awaited her. As I would leave, and then she brought up my son also. I'll be taking your son Aaron with me, haha. I won't let you do that. I will raise Aaron. You can't possibly take care of a child in your condition. After saying that, I couldn't see my mother-in-law anymore. I couldn't hand over my precious son to such a devil-like person. And so I decided on revenge. I'd rather leave this house even without being told to. Realizing I couldn't get up on my own, I called someone for help. Emily, what's wrong? Sorry for the sudden call. I need some help. Understood. Where are you? I explained what my mother-in-law did and my current location. 10 minutes later, she arrived by car. Are you okay? I somehow dragged myself here, haha, but I'm really exhausted now. I had managed to crawl to a nearby bench. Seems I really hated it, haha. This is no laughing matter. For now, I'll take you to my house. Thus, I stayed at Julia's house without returning to my own. My concern was about my son Aaron. Fortunately, it was still only 2:00 p.m. in the afternoon. I asked Julia to pick him up from kindergarten. Mom? Aaron, I have something important to talk about. I'm thinking of living separately from Dad. Who do you want to live with? I want to be with Mom. I don't know how I would have coped if he had chosen his father, but thankfully that worry was unfounded. I decided to divorce. Of course, my husband called. This was also expected. Hey, where are you? I need money, so give it to me quickly. Sorry, but from now on, you'll have to manage on your own. What? What do you mean? Just as I said, your mother kicked me out. I've reached my limit too, so I'm divorcing you. Hey, wait. A month after leaving the house, I received a call. It seemed to be from my mother-in-law. Thinking she finally called, I answered. What have you done? What do you mean? There are workers at the house. Oh, I asked them to come. After all, that house is mine, haha. What? She sounded quite angry, but I ignored her and continued. Isn't that great? You didn't like the old house, right? Oh, and have you heard from my husband? What about him? He's currently unemployed, haha. What do you mean? John's unemployed. Wasn't he working? He hasn't been working for a long time now. All the money we've been using was from me. I thought you were unemployed. Of course not. Shall I tell you how much I earn? The mother-in-law's voice, now lacking its earlier bravado, trembled. $200,000. $200,000. That can't be true. You don't have to believe it, haha. We won't be involved with each other anymore. I immediately hung up the phone and blocked her number. I never wanted to hear her voice again. Just hearing it made my blood boil. They will regret for the rest of their lives for letting go of someone like me. Just imagining their faces filled with despair gives me the will to live. Even if I can't walk, eventually I managed to divorce my husband. The mother-in-law, upon learning the truth, demanded an explanation from him, and then he called. What? Hey, help me out. You seem to be mistaken. But we are strangers now. Handle your own problems. We lived together all this time. I don't recall someone who never cared for his child, or did as he pleased, haha. Send my regards to your mother. Of course, I blocked him as well. My dealings with them were over, but I had plans for the mother-in-law. What she did to me was nothing short of criminal. She might not know what judgment awaits her, but she'll likely spend nights trembling in fear. Meanwhile, Julia said to me, "If you move, call me, and I'll be there anytime, like last time." Just kidding, haha. Yes, of course. Really? Then I'm counting on you. Leave it to me. I moved to a new place with my son, Aaron. And perhaps due to the hard rehabilitation, I've started to regain some sensation in my legs. Little by little, it might still take time before I can walk again, but I won't give up. After all, I have my precious son with me.
Emergency, Mom's had a heart attack. My husband's voice cracked with panic as he gripped his phone. We need to go home now. I stared at the pristine waters of the Maldives beach, watching our dream vacation crumble before my eyes. My name is Alexandra, and after 5 years of nonstop work and saving every penny, my husband James and I have finally managed to book our dream getaway. We'd been here exactly 26 hours. What happened? I asked, already knowing who had made the emergency call. Linda, my mother-in-law, had spent the last month trying to sabotage this trip. Dad says she collapsed at home. James was already shoving things into our suitcase, his hands shaking. They're taking her to St. Mary's Hospital. Alex, we have to go. I took a deep breath, memories of the past 5 years flooding back. Every time James and I had planned something for ourselves, Linda had found a way to interfere. Our weekend trips mysteriously coincided with her emergencies. Our date nights were interrupted by her urgent needs for help with basic household tasks. But a heart attack? This was a new level even for her. Of course, I said, keeping my voice steady. I'll start packing while you book the flights. As James rushed to call the airlines, I looked at our hotel room, the overwater bungalow we dreamed about for years. The champagne we planned to drink at sunset sat unopened. The snorkel gear we'd rented for tomorrow's reef tour lay untouched. My phone buzzed with a message from my best friend Emma, who worked as a nurse at St. Mary's. Your MIL just walked into the ER demanding immediate attention. She's shouting about chest pains, but she drove herself here and seems energetic. I stared at the message, my suspicions confirmed. But how could I tell James? He was already in a panic, talking about cashing in our vacation insurance and paying whatever it took to get home immediately. Got us on the next flight, James announced, his face pale with worry. We leave in 3 hours. It's going to cost a fortune, but Mom needs us. I sat down on the bed, choosing my next words carefully. James, before we leave, I think we should call the hospital directly. He frowned. Dad already told us what's happening. We don't have time to. Please, I said firmly, just call the hospital. Ask about her condition. Maybe it was something in my tone, or maybe deep down he had his own doubts. But James picked up his phone. I watched as he dialed St. Mary's and asked about Linda Mitchell. The color drained from his face as he listened. What do you mean she's arguing with the triage nurse? I thought, Dad said she had a heart attack. I pulled out my phone and showed him Emma's message. James sat down heavily beside me, the realization hitting him hard. She's faking it, he whispered, more a statement than a question. She's actually faking a heart attack to bring us home. Before I could respond, another message from Emma popped up. You need to see this. I'm sending you security footage from the ER entrance. Your MIL parked in the ambulance bay, fixed her makeup, then stumbled in clutching her chest. The performance would be impressive if it wasn't so manipulative. The video loaded, and there she was, Linda, parking her Mercedes precisely between the lines, checking her reflection in the rearview mirror, and then transforming into a woman in desperate medical distress as soon as she opened the car door. James watched the footage in silence, his expression shifting from shock to anger. 5 years, he said finally. For 5 years, every time we tried to do something for ourselves, she's pulled something like this. But this is too far. I wrapped my arm around his shoulders, feeling his body tremble with a mix of emotions. I'm so sorry, James. No, he said, standing up suddenly. I'm the one who's sorry. Sorry I let her manipulate us for so long. Sorry I didn't see what she was doing. He picked up his phone again, but this time his hands were steady. I need to make 2 calls, one to cancel our emergency flights and one to tell my mother exactly what I think about her little performance. I watched as he stepped out onto our private deck, phone in hand. The sun was setting over the ocean, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks. We hadn't lost our vacation after all, but something had shifted. For the first time in our marriage, James was truly seeing his mother's behavior for what it was. My phone buzzed again. Another update from Emma. Hospital security is getting involved. Your MIL is demanding to be admitted despite normal vitals and clear EKG. She keeps saying her son is flying home to be with her and the hospital will be sorry if they discharge her before you arrive. I couldn't help but smile. Linda had finally overplayed her hand, and she had no idea what was coming. James's voice carried through the glass doors of our bungalow as he confronted his mother. I've seen the security footage, Mom. The hospital sent it to us. How could you do this? I could hear Linda's shrill protests even from where I sat. Security footage? That's private medical information. I'll sue them. I'm having a medical emergency, and you're abandoning me for some vacation. A medical emergency? James's voice grew harder than I'd ever heard it. The footage shows you parking your car, checking your makeup, and then pretending to collapse. The doctors say there's nothing wrong with you. Those doctors don't know anything. I raised you better than this, James. What kind of son chooses a beach over his dying mother? I watched as James gripped the balcony railing, his knuckles turning white. You're not dying, Mom. You're lying. Just like you lied about needing emergency plumbing repairs during our anniversary dinner. Just like you lied about falling down the stairs when we tried to go camping last summer. The silence that followed was deafening. Then Linda's voice came back, smaller but somehow more venomous. That girl has turned you against me. Alexandra never understood our family's closeness. She's always tried to come between us. Stop. James cut her off. Alex has put up with your manipulation for 5 years. She's never complained, never tried to come between us. But I see it now, Mom. I see everything. Emma sent another update. Your MIL just threw her phone at a nurse when they suggested she was having an anxiety attack rather than a heart attack. Security's been called again. I stepped out onto the deck, placing a gentle hand on James's shoulder. He leaned into my touch, still holding the phone. I'm done, Mom, he said firmly. We're staying on our vacation. If you actually have a medical emergency, the doctors at St. Mary's are more than capable of handling it. But this manipulation, these lies, they stop now. You'll regret this, Linda hissed. When something really happens to me, you'll wish you'd been a better son. No, Mom. The only thing I regret is not standing up to you sooner. Goodbye. He ended the call and turned to me, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. I'm so sorry, Alex. I should have seen it years ago. Before I could respond, his phone buzzed with a message from his father. Your mother's being escorted out of the hospital. She's hysterical. Please come home and help deal with this. James looked at the message, then at me, then at the beautiful sunset over the ocean. For a moment, I saw the old uncertainty cross his face, the ingrained response to rush to his mother's aid. You know what? He said, putting his phone on silent and placing it face down on the deck table. Dad enabled her behavior just as much as I did. They can handle this themselves. Emma's updates kept coming. Your MIL is now in the parking lot, telling anyone who'll listen that her son is abandoning her on her deathbed. Hospital security has informed her she'll be trespassing if she comes back without an actual emergency. I couldn't help but laugh, and after a moment, James joined in. The tension of the last few hours broke like a wave, leaving behind something lighter, cleaner. Do you know what I want to do? James asked, pulling me close. I want to open that champagne we've been saving. I want to sit on this deck with my wife, watch the sunset, and start living our life without jumping at my mother's every call. Are you sure? I asked softly. This is a big change. He kissed my forehead, his embrace steady and sure. I've never been more sure of anything. Well, except marrying you. As we sat there, watching the sky turn from gold to purple, our phones kept buzzing with updates. Linda had called every family member, spinning a tale of abandonment and betrayal. James's father sent increasingly demanding messages. Even Linda's sister chimed in, berating James for his callousness. But for the first time in our marriage, we let the drama wash past us like the waves below our bungalow. James turned to me, his eyes clear and determined. I think it's time we set some real boundaries, he said. Not just for this vacation, but for our life together. I nodded, feeling a hope I hadn't dared to embrace in years. What did you have in mind? First, no more emergency responses without verification. Second, we start making plans for our life. Real plans that don't revolve around my mother's latest crisis. And third, he smiled, a hint of mischief in his eyes. We turn off our phones and enjoy the rest of the sunset properly. As the last rays of sun painted the sky, I curled into James's embrace, feeling the warmth of more than just the tropical evening. Something had shifted, not just in our vacation, but in our marriage. Linda's latest manipulation hadn't ruined our trip. It had given us something far more valuable than a week in paradise. It had given us our freedom. The rest of our vacation was everything we dreamed of and more. Without Linda's constant interruptions, James and I rediscovered what it felt like to just be us. We snorkeled through coral reefs, had candlelit dinners on the beach, and spent long afternoons doing absolutely nothing but enjoying each other's company. But reality waited for us back home, and Linda wasn't done yet. When we landed at the airport, Emma was waiting for us with news. Your MIL has been busy, she said, hugging me tight. She's been at the hospital 3 more times, each time with a different emergency. They finally had to threaten her with legal action to make her stop. James just shook his head, no longer surprised by his mother's antics. And Dad? How's he handling it? He's been calling everyone, trying to fix things, Emma replied. But something interesting happened while you were gone. The hospital's patient advocacy team got involved after your MIL's performance. They're recommending she get psychological help. As we drove home, we found our house surrounded by family members' cars. Linda had apparently called an intervention. Ready? I asked James, seeing his jaw tighten. He squeezed my hand. More than ready. Inside, Linda sat in our living room like a queen holding court, surrounded by concerned relatives. She'd been crying, her makeup strategically smeared for maximum effect. My own son, she wailed when she saw us. Look what she's done to him. He left his mother to die while he played on a beach. James's father stood up, his face stern. Son, this has gone far enough. Your mother needs. No, Dad, James cut him off. What Mom needs is professional help. We've all seen the hospital footage. We all know what really happened. Linda's sister gasped. What hospital footage? I pulled out my phone, playing the video Emma had sent. The room fell silent as they watched Linda parking perfectly, checking her makeup, then dramatically stumbling into the ER. That's not. Linda sputtered, but for once, she had no story ready. There's more, James said quietly. The hospital has documentation of every fake emergency you've created over the past 5 years. Every time you've tried to manipulate us, every lie you've told. They're recommending psychiatric evaluation. The room erupted in chaos. Linda burst into fresh tears. But this time, fewer people rushed to comfort her. Her sister, who had always taken her side, sat back with a thoughtful look on her face. We're not doing this anymore, James announced, his voice carrying over the commotion. Alex and I are setting boundaries. No more emergency calls without verification. No more dropping everything because Mom feels lonely. And if you want to be part of our lives, you need to get help. Linda tried one last tactic. After everything I've sacrificed for you, the only thing you've sacrificed, I finally spoke up, is your relationship with your son. But you can still fix that, if you're willing to do the work. The silence that followed was heavy with possibility. James's father was the first to move, walking over to stand beside his son. She's right, he said quietly. Linda, this has to stop. I've already made an appointment with Dr. Carter. We're going to counseling together. Linda looked around the room, realizing for the first time that her audience was no longer automatically on her side. Her sister was nodding along with James's father. Even her closest allies were looking at her with new eyes. I just didn't want to lose you, she whispered to James. Mom, you were losing me anyway, he replied gently. Every manipulation, every lie, every ruined moment, they all pushed me further away. The only way to keep me in your life is to get help and start building honest relationships. 6 months later, our lives look very different. Linda started therapy, reluctantly at first, but gradually with more commitment. She still struggles with boundaries, But now there are consequences when she crosses them. We've had peaceful family dinners, uninterrupted date nights, and even a weekend getaway without a single emergency call. Last week, she did something that shocked us all. She apologized. Not a manipulative, self-pitying apology, but a real one, acknowledging the harm she caused and the work she still needs to do. "I was so afraid of being alone," she admitted during a family session. "I thought if I kept you close, kept you needing me, I'd never lose you. Instead, I was pushing you away." James and I still have the sunset photo from that evening in the Maldives framed in our living room. It reminds us of more than just a beautiful moment. It marks the day we finally broke free from the chains of manipulation and started living life on our own terms. Sometimes the best endings don't tie everything up perfectly. Linda is still working on herself, and we're still learning how to navigate our new boundaries. But now, when our phones ring, we don't feel that instant dread. We're no longer waiting for the next crisis, the next emergency, the next manipulation. We're just living our lives together, exactly as we should have been all along.